I'm not interested in, wasting my energy and my time on anything that is going to steer me away from my best performance. And when I speak to performance, I am not just speaking on weightlifting or anything. I'm talking it for me, performance, high performance is how do you wake up feeling in the morning?
Yep.
And starting right there, because a lot of people do not wake up feeling fucking good. It's like problems you're thinking about, or, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. And it's like, I don't want to feel like that. And I don't. So what do you do about it?
Welcome to Black Belt Beauty Radio, a podcast fueled by a passion to support your journey in developing your most beautiful and optimal performance in life. Each episode is driven with the intention to elevate your mind. When we elevate our mind, we elevate our life. So get ready. It's time to rise.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Black Belt Beauty Radio. You guys, I'm mixing things up on you today, and I'm excited about it. So I'm actually sharing a podcast episode that featured me as the guest on the Cage-Free CHICS podcast with host Nadya Panfilova and Michelle Evans. I love this talk so much. It's pretty recent. The girls are just very passionate, intelligent, and curious young women who, their podcast is primarily focused around women in combat sports and their stories, but it's not limited to that. There is an alignment in our outlook and our mission with our podcast. And it's really, to extract the stories and the process and the frameworks of high-level experts, high performers in life. So we had such a great time chatting. We talked about, my backstory, childhood, lots of focus around mindset. Great takeaways there. We talked about lifestyle habits, nutrition, fitness, all kinds of good stuff. And I just felt that this could be a great podcast to share at the end of the year. I know a lot of people, are really getting ready and thinking about how to take it to the next level next year, how to be better, how to perform better. So I feel like there are powerful takeaways in this episode that will be supportive of that mission. And not to mention, it just feels good to support Nadya and Michelle. They're rad. They're putting themselves out there. They're doing it wholeheartedly and authentically. And I will always rise to support women, really anybody who is, contributing in that way. So without further ado, you guys, please enjoy this fun conversation with my girls, Nadya and Michelle. Enjoy.
Boom.
What's up? Thank you so much for being here with us.
Roxanne. Oh my God.
Black Belt Beauty.
Yeah. Black Belt Beauty. Thank you, girls, for coming down to the beach. I mean, you live the beach too, but,
still,
this way.
No, the drive-in was amazing.
Yeah.
So beautiful. I don't know. We're so lucky to live in California, especially on days like this, and this whole summer, really, it's been weird. We're so lucky. It's so hot. We get to go outside. I don't know.
I feel like we didn't have a real, I was gone for a month. I was in Vegas for a month, but it was super gray. I know.
The change was very drastic. I will agree with you.
Yeah.
I will agree with you.
We're stoked on this right now, though.
I hope it never ends.
I feel like it's not going to, I feel like it's not going to.
What do they call it? Like an Indian summer?
Indian summer, yeah.
I'm all about it. So the water's warm too. And I'm after the podcast.
Yeah.
I gotta go do one of my, I have beach runs that I do in the sand, and they're just they're bikini, barefoot. They're one of my favorite forms of modality and throughout the week. Mm-hmm. They're hardcore.
Yeah.
I get blisters on my feet, especially when it's hot like this. Yeah. But I kind of utilize that for resilience at the same time. I'm like, life is going to throw some shit sometimes, and what are you going to do, But then the reward is the fucking ocean right afterwards.
Totally. Every time I run on the beach, that's when I really realize how heavy my legs are. I'm just
oh, dude.
Or just how hard running is in general,
it's running through molasses.
I know. But then you get on the treadmill, and I'm I feel like a bunny. I'm just it's so funny.
Yeah, no, we're super fortunate to be able to live in this beautiful place and get vitamin D from the sun every day. And not have to,
Girl, you speaking my language.
All these things. I don't know. Actually, it really does affect your mood and
100%.
Super, super affects your mood.
Yeah.
Winter, when I get like Casper, the depressed ghost. I'm just like, I need the D.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, most people in North America do not get adequate amounts of vitamin D. It's a known thing. It's becoming more relevant. So I supplement, even though I am in the sun, but my skin, it's more tan. So sometimes that's a factor. But it's crazy because I'm sure you guys know, like, vitamin D regulates over 1,000 of our genes.
Basically.
And it's crazy when you understand that 1,000 processes in our body are reliant on this one vitamin. So if you're not getting adequate, and I don't want just adequate, I want like fucking optimal. Yeah. Like that's on every level, right? I just want optimal. So if you're not getting that, then the system is not going to be able to perform at an optimal state. Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, also with sunlight, it's like most people can't, rise with the sun and like see the sun. But like the most beneficial way, the best sunblock you can also get is that very early sunlight when it's just infrared and it's an ultraviolet, right? So you're getting good sunlight and, your melatonin starts to work. Not melatonin, your melanin starts working.
Yeah.
And then once the sun gets higher and higher and higher, you're already kind of protected against it. So you don't have to be putting, sunscreen on.
I had no idea about that. That's pretty incredible.
And
that's
natural sunblock.
There you go.
But again, like, you gotta wake up and rise with the sun and like be in it in those sunrise hours. Also, when the sun is setting, that is also important to be in that light. So
that is pretty much my lifestyle.
Well, then you nailed it.
And it's kind of a joke with my friends because I am such a fan of being in bed by 9 o'clock. I wake up really early. Mm-hmm. It depends on when I go to bed. So if I'm in bed at 9, I'm up at 5:30, no alarm needed, but it makes sense because I've got, my body's gotten enough sleep. If it's 10 o'clock, it might be a little later, but I always start my mornings, I have my meditation. I have a whole ritual process. I write, I read, fucking stare at the birds, literally, like just let my mind wander, open my door, go outside, get some light exposure,
and the breeze and everything. I feel like you just feel very grounded.
I'm priming myself for an epic day. And then as much as I possibly can, I also loved, because the beach is my backyard, to end the day, usually after dinner, just going for a little walk. The beach, put your feet in the sand.
Out of earth.
Exactly, the negative charge from the earth, and it's time to process and just kind of slow down. But the joke is like, I literally, like when the sun sets, so does my brain. So it's like hilarious. Like
that's meant to be though.
You know what? I love when I'm tired. What I love about my tired is I fucking earned my tired. It is a legitimate tired. It's not tired because, I didn't do, whatever. I was watching TV or like, I'm tired because I've utilized every aspect of my being. I utilized my mind. I utilized my body. Like I had to work through shit. So at the end, I'm like, I'm done and I'm really ready to end this. And then, I literally wake up every morning and I'm super excited. Let me paint a picture though. When I say I'm excited, I'm not like jumping out of bed and fucking like, no, I'm slow out of the process and that feels really good for me. But like, I'm super eager to just like, what is today going to unfold for me? And I want to attack the things that I'm working on and all that stuff. It's a good feeling. So my friends, not all my friends, but it's like sometimes the joke is like, it's Roxy's bedtime. It's like fucking 7 o'clock. I'm like, that's right.
You know what? That is just how naturally it is supposed to be. Like how plants, you will see them close up once the sun starts setting. How are we different from plants?
No, it's true. And I say that a lot. Like nature is, it's us. It's our teacher. It is us. And that is, I love that you said that because I speak to that a lot on my Instagram too. It's like, hold on, let's not separate ourselves here because that doesn't even make fucking sense right now. Like we are nature. But I think that, it's very easy for humans to like from this hierarchy, like we are above it. It's like, no, dude, we're not above it. It's just your perspective and how you're seeing it. But once we can actually tune in and get more aligned with nature, even from the perspective of like how it's helpful for patients, it's like, dude, when the flower's gonna bloom, it's gonna bloom. Are you gonna dig it up every day and be like, are you blooming? Are you blooming? No, you chill the fuck out. You let it, let it happen. Let it unfold.
What is it, like a watched pot never boils? Like, you just gotta
turn it on forever, but like
that's an old Russian proverb from Nadya.
I love it. That's legit though. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole thing of like circadian rhythms and everything is that I think when people try to joke about it, like, oh, it's 9 p.m. we're gonna go to sleep now. It's like, yeah, like, do you not like waking up rested?
Well, and both you girls are physical, right?
Yeah.
All three of us are very physical. Like, active training it's a constant part of our life.
Absolutely.
So resting is Hoyce Gracie said it, is training.
Yeah.
And so if you're not getting quality sleep and rest, how are you going to expect greatness from yourself? And I expect greatness from myself. So it doesn't make sense to have this mindset and this pursuit of, I'm gonna, I want to perform at this high level. I'm like, want to, hit these places of excellence, and yet I'm not going to replenish and nourish in a way that is absolutely necessary for this. It's like, it doesn't make sense. So it really depends on what your goals are.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, straight up, there were so many years of my life where no, I wasn't on the circadian rhythm business. Listen, I lived in New York City for years. I used to throw parties, events for a living. Yeah. I was out at night, and that was my business. But that was a great experience for me. But my athletic roots, I'm so grateful that they really came back into my life and like overtook me. I mean, they were always there, but like then they like after I kind of went through that process and like, oh, that was fun. There's only so much you can get out of that. The foundation, I think, to, not just me, but like my siblings, our upbringing, we have always, I think our father is the reason for this, like, excellence was something that was always presented to us in a way where it was like, wow, people like Olympians and people who are doing great things, right? So, after those years in New York, or do this thing, whatever, it's like my athletic roots and this love for excellence and all that really started to come back like with a vengeance, right? And now, I mean, and this has been the case for over a decade easily, that is my passion. That is my priority. I'm not interested in, wasting my energy and my time on anything that is going to steer me away from my best performance. And when I speak to performance, I am not just speaking on weightlifting or anything. I'm talking it for me, high performance is, how do you wake up feeling in the morning?
Yep.
And starting right there, because a lot of people do not wake up feeling fucking good. It's like problems you're thinking about, or, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. And it's like, I don't want to feel like that. And I don't. So what do you do about it? You know what I mean?
What a question. Well, I think a lot of people don't even get to that point where they think that they can do anything. They just think that this is it forever, and it's I guess the first step is knowing that there is a door to be opened. Maybe, and seeing that you can change. Because I don't know, I'm sure you've come across these people so many times, but you see people and they're in a rut in whatever part of their life, and you're like, why don't you just change? Like, try to change one thing, And you don't know if that one thing, like we were saying before we started recording, it might just be that one thing that has a cascading effect on everything else in your life and kind of opens the door. But
you'll never know variables until you try.
No, you definitely have to try and experiment and see like what works for you. And, for everyone, it might not be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, it might be waking up at 8, but that right when you get up, you're going to have your routine, whatever it is. But
it's so true.
You have to find that path for yourself, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's the combination of curiosity, and really it's like, I want to say passion, but honestly, and that is an important piece to it too. But I think a lot of people, obviously, like Black Belt Beauty, it's a lifestyle brand, right? And I'm a holistic high performer. And I say holistic because I'm not interested in just killing it, in business or on the physical, and then like inside I'm dying and I'm not feeling good. Like, you know, I want the whole win from internal, and that's most important than anything. And then the external.
Yeah.
So, and I really believe that your internal is a reflection. It's going to support the external anyways, right? But I think that when a lot of people are so curious about like my diet, my training, and because there's consistency and there's discipline, and I don't even usually, the word discipline doesn't come in that often. There are times that it does. Like yesterday, I was like, oh my God, I don't feel like going to the gym right now. I want to be on the beach because it's so nice. But this is where discipline kicks in.
Yep.
Because I got to go. It's a lift day. But the ultimate, like where it really all stems from, you guys, for me, it's self-love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Knowing that I'm capable, wondering what is better. And I'm so intrigued not only by what better is, but also like there are certain standards that I love having for myself, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not turned on by the idea of wanting like, oh, I wish I looked like that. I wish I felt like that. And just like going through life fucking wishing. I am a woman of action. I'm like, let's figure this out. Let's do this shit. Like, you know what I mean? So applying is very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, what's the point? I don't know. If you are sitting around wishing that you're something, like, what do you think that person did to get to where they are?
Well, and you know what it is?
They did something.
Too? Yeah.
Like,
and it's like,
you could be that. Anybody, that's the whole thing, is that anybody can be anybody they want to be. But you have to put the work in.
You really do.
Yeah. You know, and you can't just sit there.
I think people kind of forget the work part. Like the manifestation is a huge part of it, and visualization, but then you have to also remember that you know, like, you gotta like pick the bar up. Like, it's not gonna lift itself.
It's not gonna lift itself.
You can, but it's not gonna lift itself in the way that you want to if you don't tell yourself how you want it to look like. Like on the drive here, I don't know why, I was just like thinking about it, how just my mindset this year has been, you know, I've been trying to change it, make it more positive and healthy. And people are like, oh, so what do you do? And I would always say like, oh, I want to be a writer, blah, blah, blah. And then for some reason today in the car, I realized, why am I saying that? I should be like, oh, I'm a writer. Because if I keep saying like, oh, I want to be, or that I hope one day, you know, then you're not doing then you're not doing the necessary steps. Because if you say, oh, I'm a writer, and then that's out in the open, and then you got to own up to it after you gotta live it. You got to live it.
You better be writing, otherwise you're literally not a writer.
then you're just a fraud.
Exactly.
Then you're just someone who says you're a writer.
Yeah. Ew.
I was like, oh, I want to be. Like, no, just
be.
Yeah.
Just be. No, I love that. Yeah. I mean, because I think that, all the things that we want for our lives, I mean, the bigger, even in my personal like vision of the next couple of years of my life, it's all about this kind of version of myself, right? It's not about the things. It's about who I have to become in order to be living and experiencing these things. What would she do? I have an actual relationship with this woman, and I hang out with her every day in meditation. She's fucking dope.
Yeah.
And it's rad. She's like my North Star because, the way that I see her, and she's so formed in my mind. Then throughout the day, I'm trying to, it's not, I don't want to say the word try. It sounds like there's a struggle in it, but like I operate from her perspective.
Yeah.
From her, you know what I mean? And that is so helpful. If it's, I'm a thought leader in personal empowerment, and I'm a speaker and I'm compelling. Well, how does her brain, what is she doing in the day to nourish, her ability to speak better or whatever, just to tie back to what you're saying, it's like, why put it in this way of I want to be? No, just be.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it too is most people don't realize that like time isn't real and it's just a man-made construct. So they're like, oh, my future self. Like, no, that you are that person.
You are.
Yeah. So just the things that you want to accomplish, just fucking do them. because then that's how you're going to accomplish them. Otherwise,
it's so true. I think there's something beautiful about process.
Yeah.
Right. So like the woman that I see every day, absolutely, I'm her. But there's something also fun about feeling like I'm blooming into her.
Yeah.
And I love that because while I understand that this woman is clearly me and I already own and I possess for me to be able to see these qualities about her means that I already recognize them in self. And so it's really this like fortification situation. And I love that process because to me that is what life is, right? It's like this journey that I think is the actual reward and not just the goal, because
absolutely
once we hit the goal, we're already looking at the next goal.
Totally.
So, but what did you learn and what did you gain along the way, right? But yeah, I think that a lot of times, I mean, even just to go back to like, I don't know if it's the constraints or the time thing as much as I think straight up, it takes work.
Yeah.
And, you know, number one, you have to be wanting and willing to do the work. Number two, you have to fucking believe that you can. And that's where I think a lot of the trip up can happen.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people have negative self-image of themselves, and or maybe not totally honest self-awareness, maybe in terms of where they are. And if you kind of don't know where you are, then how can you start to? You're on uneven foundation. You know, how can you start building upon yourself to become the person you want to be if you don't even know where, you know, how far off you are? So,
I love that you said that because, you know, we were in our podcast before our podcast, you know, and I'm an empowerment coach, and I'm, you know, in really trying to understand my process and, well, how did I develop this very empowered mindset, right? And try and formalize it in a way that I can really share it with others. You know, I came up with my 4 S's, and the 4 S's in sequential order, like this is the exact order that it needs to happen. Is you need to develop a stronger sense of self-awareness. In that, you're better able to develop a stronger sense of self-connection, which is so important. Then from that, you can develop a stronger sense of self-love. Mm-hmm. And then what follows that, which is like the anchor, which, you know, like if you run track, like the anchor is a very important role, right? You're going to win the race. Yeah, right there. The anchor is self-confidence.
Yep.
And so in anything that we want or, you know, need to do in life, like anything great, anything that we really want to accomplish, like we really need all of those things to be fully intact. And like what you were saying,
totally.
Like if you are not self-aware and you're not, and honesty is so important.
Yeah. And like self-objectivity, like so many people, you know, this is a very superficial thing, but like losing weight or looking good, you know, for themselves, they'll ask like, what do you think I should do? And it's like, no, what do you want out of this? You know, like literally, what do you want? I can't tell you what to do if I don't know what you want. Cause just, you know, eating a head of broccoli every day or doing 500 push-ups every day is not going to make you have an 8-pack and look, you know, perfect. Like it's just not going to do that.
It's
and
like
so
one step.
Yeah. No, it's important.
Yeah. Look at yourself and see, like my brother and I were talking about this the other day. He was saying one of his friends is really overweight and and my brother's a little bit overweight, but he also has one of these bodies. Like he's a 21-year-old boy. He can just like not drink soda for a day and be ripped, you know, like, literally. But he does work out now, and he's like, and he always kind of has, but he's like, oh, it's so crazy. Like I forgot how like little I need to get going. But that's also because I didn't let myself stray very far from where I was.
Truly.
Whereas his friend was telling him, well, I'm so fat, blah, blah, blah. And my brother's like, how long did it take you to get this fat? Okay.
Yeah.
Now just think about how easy it is to get fat.
Yeah.
Like you have to look at yourself and look at where you are. Like you're not going to be, you know.
Right. You have to be patient.
Yeah. It's going to be patient. And just look at yourself and understand, okay, I did this. This is not good. Now I need to stop doing this and switch my perspective and start going in a more positive direction. But if you don't even recognize
you have to be honest, accountability. Yeah. I mean, the best athletes, you know, like the best people, period, like leaders, athletes, it's like accomplished is a better word than best, right? They want to know the fucking hard truth.
Yeah.
They need to own it, because you don't get better if that realness and that truth
if you're not
there.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Well, for sure that, right? But like, yes, there's no but after that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like the numbers don't lie. Like Antonio Brown is a great receiver because he runs the routes and he looks at the routes and goes, "Oh, well, this is what I need to improve on." Like it's not like there's no emotion about it. Why does there need to be any like emotion? Or like I don't even know if maybe emotion is not the right word, but like some sort of negative or positive to it.
I think that's the perfect word because I think like I've been writing, literally all of my life and mostly, introspective work, process, perspective, journaling, but writing all the same. Right. And I think a lot of why I have been able to develop myself in the way that I have is because of this writing business. Why that is because it has allowed me to observe my thoughts. I'm observing my thoughts from a student lens.
Yeah.
I'm not judging myself, right? I mean, listen, there were years in my 20s where I'm reading my writing now and I'm like, you were fucking judging yourself.
That's literally, I journaled all through June. I just journaled every day. That was my goal. It doesn't matter what I write. And I realized looking back on it, like, I am so hard on myself. Like, I am when I was reading the words, I was like, why does who is this person?
Oh, that's what I thought recently, just picking up, because I'm writing an actual book right now, which is such an arduous, beautiful task. But I'm like researching my writing from I'm talking about like 20 years ago. I'm like, oh, is that even you? But it's so rad that I can, first of all, see my evolution, but also, just to say that, like, to be able to express from a place of, to be able to watch yourself express from a student perspective, man, there is so much fucking growth that comes from this.
Yeah.
I don't know how I landed on this right now, but
just like the self-awareness and like understanding, like being able to look at yourself and say like
hard truth and like accountability.
Yeah. And see yourself.
Exactly. Because if the objective goal is to make a gain, to get better in some way or to accomplish, you cannot dismiss that. You have to bring it into the picture or else it's just
what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we were in our episode with Suzette Howe, we were talking about how it's important for parents, to let their kids to just air out whatever is in their heads. Yeah. Because once the thought leaves their mouth, they will probably realize themselves like, ooh, that's kind of a stupid thought to have, especially when you're 16 or 15, whatever, when you're a teenager, it's so turbulent, whatever. Yeah. I think a lot of parents are very quick to kind of shut down that expression. Like, no, just do this, Right. And then, but that thought then never leaves their kid's brain. It's always there. So then they're never able to hear how dumb it actually is. So to the point of, you're constantly journaling and writing things down that are in your head. Yeah. You're giving your thoughts and your words a literal body.
Absolutely.
So then when you look at it, yes, you got like, all right, well, it's like, I'm a writer, gotta own up to it. Ooh, I wrote this down. I guess I gotta live with that,
Like, Like, is that where I really want to be? Does this make sense with, what I want to accomplish and who I want to be existing as? Like, yeah. Journaling is actually one of my greatest methodologies and like what I essentially kind of prescribe to people. And I know it's, a lot of people like wish they had the habit of journaling. Some people start and they stop, like they have a hard time keeping consistent, but man, and I think a lot of people actually find it difficult because it's kind of overwhelming. It can be overwhelming to like
confronting yourself that way. Yeah.
100% that. And just like opening a blank page and be like, well, what do I, because immediately it's like, there's a form of judgment. Like, oh, am I supposed to write something that's super,
there's like a pressure.
Like, there's a pressure. Yeah, exactly. Like something super profound. And it's like, no, just talk about how the bird's annoying you outside or whatever. But like expression and just expelling. And that goes back to what you were just saying. Like just let it out. Yeah.
What I noticed also in that month that I did it was, I noticed for myself I need to have a routine. I couldn't and I'm not a morning person, so I know that there's no way that I'm going to wake up earlier to journal. There's just no way. Like, every page would be like,
go back to sleep.
Fuck journaling. I wish I was asleep. That's what it would be. But so I do it before I went to bed, and then I realized like the whole next day, like as I'm walking throughout my day, I know that at night I have to go home and journal, which means I'm trying to, I don't know, it just affected my day in a really weird way because as I would walk through my day, I'd think like, well, eventually whatever's happening in the day is going to end up in the journal.
Yeah.
So I should probably make it like a positive thing and
That's
not pollute my mind with negative thoughts, because then I'm going to have a journal that's going to have only negative thoughts.
Right.
You know? And so it just made me like much more present and aware of like everything that was happening, and especially how I was thinking of myself day to day, because that's most of what was coming out in my writing. So I was like,
I love that. Yeah, well, you're more, exactly. You're more present, you're more aware. And you're also very, you know, your intentions are focused more, you know, whereas like,
that's,
you know, and
intentions.
that to me is like, you're living on purpose. You're not just going through the motions of life, of your day. It's like when you are aware of self, that is the most, to me, it is like, man, when you really can get this part down where you're, okay, because let me back up and say, I really believe that, like, I'm not just a woman. Neither are you. Yeah. You know what I see us as? We are fucking experiences. We are experiences. We are giving each other an experience. Yep. Right now we're giving the people who are listening an experience. And, you know, if more people, I think, thought on that, from that lens of like, oh, you know, because then you're paying attention to, well, what is my impact?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like to everybody, to the person that you're buying your coffee from, to, you know, whoever, like family, like what is the impact that I am placing right now on this person? Because whether you are conscious of it or not, you are presenting some kind of experience to them that is going to impact them. And, you know, so the more that I think that we can become self-aware and, you know, channel our presence and our intention in a way that is
constructive
and contributing like to, you know, that feels good to self and that is a contribution to our external world as well. Like, man, like to me, you know, you don't have to have a charity or foundation or be doing a march to be fucking supporting this life that we're living. Like that in of itself is absolute.
Well, it kind of like loops back to what we said in the beginning. You know, people separate themselves from nature. They're so, you know, adamant about, oh, I'm not like other animals. Like, well, first of all, sit down, you are. That's just science. But, you know, once you start separating yourself from nature and putting yourself above what is happening, you know, in our immediate surroundings, you separate yourself from your fellow man. And then that is where a lot of things arise. It's like people can't have a conversation about things anymore if they disagree, you know, they get like really triggered by whatever that happens. And it's just because they're separated and they don't understand that they're separated and they're still trying to, but they want to belong. But then now they don't know how to reconnect because they don't want to admit to themselves that they're disconnected. And then it's just like they become this little dense ball of just like anxiety and whatever.
Yeah. I think.
But then also too, the point, you know, how you just said that your intentions become more focused once you start writing them down.
Yeah.
I recently rewatched Brian Cox and JRE, and he was talking about Joe Rogan experience. Yeah. And he's like a theoretical physicist, right? And they were talking about what is the meaning of it all?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, meaning is like an emergent property. Meaning is whatever you give it to. Or
here, my journal. I'm like, let's just pull out. Nothing means anything except the meaning you decide to give to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are words that came to me in my meditation one day, me hanging out with my girls up there. People who listen to my podcast are already, because I have my muse and she's like the highest version of myself, and then I have future self. Anyways, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I have so much pride in that actually, because to have that kind of connection is very profound. Yeah. And it's not something that somebody taught me. I didn't go to and then not to put anything like that down. It's just, it feels good that it literally, it's like I'm downloaded that way. Right. And my daily lifestyle allows me to become deeper into this connection with self, right?
Yeah.
But one day in my meditation, a handful of years ago, I was like, I don't know, troubled from something. And my muse said to me, nothing means anything except the meaning you decide to give to it. And what I love about that is that it immediately neutralized my emotions. I was like, oh, wait, I'm back in the driver's seat, because the way that I'm looking at this, I'm determining the value of this situation. It's me, right? Totally. It's that is so powerful to just realize. So if like, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're unkind, somebody or you're hurt, it's like, hold on, just remind yourself. I'm not saying the thing goes away or whatever, but just understanding that this emotion that you're feeling is because you're deciding that this is worthy of this emotion.
Okay, totally.
Yes.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know whenever like either of us gets upset, I have to remind us like feel, okay, yeah, there are going to be horrible traumatic things that happen in your life or that feel really bad in the moment. It's like totally feel that and know that, yeah, this is bad. But if you allow, you know, like you see people go through a breakup or something, and that's like a really horrible example maybe, but they go through a breakup and yeah, it's like devastating. You know, you thought you were going to be with this person, whatever.
Yeah.
But like 4 months later, you're like still depressed.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
You're doing that to yourself at that
Yeah.
point, you know,
Yeah.
you have to decide your own self-worth. And that's maybe not a good example because it's reliant on somebody else, but you know, something doesn't go your way and you just let yourself just get crushed under the pressure of it rather than saying, you know what?
Well, that's, I feel like a snowball that is really easy to get cut under, you know, because if you do go through some kind of event that kind of pushes you out of, you know, your general pattern.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, whoa. It's hard to, you know, find your bearing back.
For sure.
But
But this is where, you know, having that connection with self and also having self-love is very, very potent. You know, like the only guy in my love life who's one of my best friends to this day, but the only person who's ever broken up with me in the history of my love life. Man, that was an interesting experience because I was not ready for that breakup. I loved him very much, you know, and so it certainly hurt, but it's he's amazing. I love him so much. You know, one of the greatest things about that experience for me was, you know, I so remember this moment like it was yesterday, even though it was well over a decade ago. You know, I remember thinking a couple things. Number one, I'm like, you know, if you really love this person, then he didn't do anything bad. He was just like, I started this company, like, I'm going to be on the road. I got to go. Yeah, I love you. But like, And I'm like, well, if you really love him, then you don't love the idea. You don't love him just as your boyfriend. Like, you love him as a human and what he needs to fucking do for himself.
Right.
By the way, you've been there, like, in every other experience of your love life. So it's not like you can't understand this. But on top of that, and this goes right back to where we were, is I looked at myself and I'm like, nah, like, I love you, but I love me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my heart might be broken, but the pieces that are broken, they're right here. They're going to come back to me and my heart is stronger and bigger than ever. Like, we're good. And I'm going to uphold that thought in my mind and work through this. And again, that all goes back to self-love, an empowered mindset, and a mindset that says, like, you know, I'm known as someone who's positive and all, and that's cool. Like, I don't relate to the word positive as much as I relate to the word empowered, because there are times where shit just sucks. Like, straight up. That's hard. You got your car towed, got to go pay $500. It's not even 8 a.m. Fucking sucks. That's a reality. Yeah. And I'm not trying to, but here's the thing. Have your little moment. Yeah. Right?
Your little...
Just have that. This is actually happened, and I made an actual podcast of it. Have that moment. But if that starts to turn you into an asshole...
Other moments become that moment.
Now,
news.
You're the bitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it, like, no. Like, the empowered mindset says, this sucks, but I got this.
Yeah.
And this is hard. This hurts. But I know I can get through this. And that's a very very attractive mindset to me. That is a very attractive, like, I just can't imagine doing life from any other way, you know?
Well, then it's not really your life. You're not really living, I guess. Like,
no, you're a victim.
Yeah. Well, my mom said to me one time, this sounds super morbid and it's like not, but one time I was complaining about something. She's like, okay, so then, like, be dead. And then I was like, yeah. She's like, the other option is you either figure it out and keep on living your life, which is what you're going to do.
Right.
Or you're going to be dead. Like, do you want to be dead? I'm like, no, I don't. So,
it's such a great way. I don't think it's morbid at all. I think it's just very matter of fact because there are a lot of people who are alive, but they're dead.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like, what are you doing here?
Like,
what is this?
And it's a choice. I mean,
it is a choice.
Yes, it is. It really is. I think I mean, listen, with all, and it's important, there's a lot of, it's complex. You can't speak on everyone's mind. There are certain things that are actual like imbalances and there's with respect to all that. But for the general population that's healthy and like we're all going through shit. We all come through shit. My family, adversity in our childhood, no one would ever know because we have not even consciously. Yeah, like not even consciously, I swear. Like it was just kind of like, I don't know, we're just going to keep living our life and like we just want to keep like discovering self and then it's like, well, what can we accomplish? What can we achieve? Oh, we want to do it at this level and like, but then you turn around and you look back, you go, damn, I should almost be fucked up.
I had this exact thought yesterday.
Really?
I was just like, man, I'm kind of like going through my timeline, of existence. And I'm like, fuck, like I can't believe all that shit did happen to me. Like, how am I still here? That's so cool.
You know that there's something called post-traumatic growth? Have you ever heard of it?
No.
It's an actual thing in psychology. I know when I heard that, I was like, yes. Because again, not consciously, but like, we all know about post-traumatic stress, but we don't hear about post-traumatic growth often.
We really don't.
Yeah. And it's a real thing where like, I mean, pain. Listen, we know. I was jujitsu was just coming out of my mouth. It was so funny because I was about to say discomfort. Yeah. But like pain is a very, it's a powerful, what's the word? A trigger to grow, to develop, to, and kind of softening pain. If we just look at discomfort, even right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Challenge, man, that is such a catalyst for growth. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, seeing the ways that you maybe didn't succeed in the ways that you wanted to or whatever, sometimes like missing the mark is like better for you. I don't know.
What is it like win or learn?
Yeah, win or learn. Like
win or learn. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I really do believe that too.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you're repeating things that don't feel good and don't serve you, there's some investigation that needs to, like, why is that? But if you're going through, whether it's like you launched a business and it didn't go as great, or you were in competition, you didn't get the goal. Like, is there really a loss if you're like just constantly discovering more about yourself, your capabilities, your understandings, your,
Well, I think part of it comes from, how we're kind of touching on the theme of assigning arbitrary value systems to things. Like, what's not really positive or negative, it just is, and that whole thing with pain and discomfort. Like, of course, we have these primordial instincts, our brain doesn't want us to go towards discomfort because, one, your brain doesn't understand that it's not like life-threatening. Right. It has no, it's either 0 or 1. Truly. It's super binary, right? Yeah. And we are lucky enough to have a brain that is capable of being aware of that, right? So we can fill in between the 1 and the 0.
Yeah.
And so people just see that, the binary flashes in their head and they're like, oh, okay, I'm not going to go down that path because my brain is telling me don't go.
Right.
But that is exactly where you should be going.
Oh my gosh, I love that you say this. A couple of days ago, it was, one of these hot days and I had to go run. I say had to because I didn't feel like it. Yeah. I didn't feel like doing a 10K in the sand and I run in the thick sand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it wasn't a day off. And so, I'm walking down on the beach and I'm like, all right, the negotiations, like it all starts. And I start to hear my mind go like, you don't have to run a 10K. Like you can run a 5K. You can even just walk a little bit. Like you work so hard. Like
little devil
all
there.
This stuff is, but what's hilarious is that I'm literally watching my thoughts. And this goes back to the journaling, the self-awareness. Most people aren't aware of their thinking. Like they're just living in the thinking.
Yeah.
But there's a level above it where you can actually witness your thoughts. So I'm watching, I'm fascinated. I'm like, look at the brain. It senses discomfort.
Yeah.
It doesn't, so it's doing anything it can to get me to stop, right?
Yeah.
Not only am I like fascinated and almost like, oh, how cute.
Yeah.
Because what it's also doing to me, I'm like, no, excuse me, I'm the motherfucking boss. Now, don't make me, I'm gonna make you run 7 miles if you're not careful. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, stop. But if you take that piece and you think about how that is so transferable to any other aspect of challenge, you want to launch a podcast, you want to write a book, you want to ask the person out but there's discomfort in the body. Yeah. So you start, sympathetic nervous system kicks in and like, it's like, it's going to do everything to like try and keep you away. And think of how many people submit to that and they don't.
So many.
Right.
Most people.
Most people. So how helpful is it if you're able to, get yourself to a place where you can actually observe your thoughts so you can separate and start to understand the process. Because when you can understand and you go, okay, I get it. This is just because, like I knew in that moment, I know my brain's detecting that I don't really feel like doing this run. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hard. But you know what? Like, it's all good. I'm going to let you do your thing, brain, because really the boss over here is in full control.
Yeah.
And it's easier to control because I understand.
Yeah.
Well, how do I understand? It's because I have self-awareness and self-connection.
Well, I think that's where the routine and like the discipline, I'm sure Jocko, but
I love
discipline equals freedom.
When he said it to me, I was like,
true.
Yes.
It's literally like and I know a lot of people feel maybe like stifled by that or like, I don't know.
And the irony, we were talking about this earlier. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful because if you have a routine and like you said, you know that you had to go run. Yesterday, I have to go lift. It's not like a decision. You're just like, this is what I do.
By the way, that was a hashtag. It's probably still there on my story right now. Like, discipline creates freedom.
Yeah. It's like, I have to go. And you know what? In an hour, everything I wanted to do is still going to be there. So why don't I just go do this? And then at the end of the day, I could say, I got my lift in. I got my run in. I'm good. And look, I'm not dead. I'm still here. Like, nothing bad is happening. Only positive things have happened from me doing this action.
Well, and then, you see how you showed up. And, another example that I think is so relevant to bring up on that subject of discipline is like, dieting. When I say diet, I mean not just like being on a diet. I'm talking about people's nutrition, right? Like what you're eating essentially. It's one of the biggest challenges I think for people's, in terms of like having some kind of control. I mean, listen, I'm sure the majority of humans like want to be feeling their best and looking their best. Mm-hmm. Well, your nutrition is 100% going to affect that. Like, there's no way around that. That is science, right? And, the holidays come in, like, we have all these things throughout the year where it's like, oh man, people are like, they're doing so good. You got the summer body. And then it's like, okay, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas. And now you're on, okay, I get it. Like, do your thing. Now you have all the grandma made this food. But maybe you kind of like.
But she's not making that food every day after Thanksgiving,
She's not. And the thing is this, you guys, is like, because some people can see me in my diet, like, you're so disciplined. Whereas, like, when it comes to diet, there is no discipline. It just is. After all these years, 41, been through injuries, like really learned a lot about biology, nutrigenomics, all this stuff. It's like, oh, no. I just understand what makes me tick at that level that feels my fucking best. And I like my aesthetics, the whole thing. Like, it's, so.
Getting like, spanking. I'm joking.
So I think that, the interesting thing about having this, where you're like, you're killing it, you're crushing it, a lot of people, and then it's like, oh, the holidays happen, and there was no discipline, and now it's excess, and now they're in a place where shit, they don't feel good, and now there's guilt, and if you have certain, I'm not saying you have to be super regimented, I'm just saying that if you do develop, if you can infuse some kind of discipline to develop the habit of eating that you would like, your nutrition, your diet that you would like, then when these moments come around, have a little bit of that brownie or that whatever holiday treat, but you're never going to lean so far out that, you go to this place where you're like, feel like
no, absolutely. Amazing. Yeah, no, but girls don't, so everyone's gonna know that wasn't real, like a real fart, because we all know girls don't fart, so or poop.
But women,
ooh, game changer. But women fart on podcasts. Yeah, right. not in private. Specifically on podcasts.
Specifically. No, but
you're totally right.
I say that because I have so much freedom is what I'm trying to really get at here. It's like, I don't give a shit if it's Christmas or there's no off season. And guess what? I'm only eating what I want. Like, and everyone's want is different. I'm not saying my way is the way, but I'm saying like, I got here first by applying some discipline because that did have to happen.
Yeah, totally. You have to put in the foundational work.
Absolutely. Anytime you want to do some kind of transformation, anytime you want to develop a habit or do something that's going to serve you, you're most likely going to have to apply some discipline to create it. Yeah. But once you have that locked in, man, there's a lot of freedom that comes because I'm not on that roller coaster.
Well, it's funny because like we have people over when we watch fights all the time, big parties, and as we were telling somebody yesterday, like, it's just like a lot of cheese. So if you like cheese and watching people get beat up and whine, then
you're solid.
Come over, you know. But I was making this pie one time, and it's a savory pie, and there are tomatoes involved. And I had tomatoes in a bowl that had salt on them, and Nadia came into the kitchen and just started like eating them. And she was like, oh my God, these tomatoes, like, they're amazing, you know? And this guy that we worked out with was like, are you kidding me? That's what you're going to eat as a snack? And Nadia's like, no, bitch, I'm going to eat a whole cake. Are you kidding me? Like, what are you talking about? I don't eat salted tomatoes for fun. And he's like, well, really?
Actually, salted tomato and my mom growing up, that's what she would totally eat.
That's why, and she salted them and put them in the fridge. They were kind of cold.
Oh, yeah.
And I started eating them. Yeah. And I was like, damn, this feels good. And in my head, I'm thinking, I can't wait to, eat this in the pie. And this guy's like, is that all you're going to eat? Like, are you going to eat anything fun? I'm like, fun. Isn't that
like,
funny?
Yeah, I'm about to get wasted. Are you kidding me? I'm not a robot.
We're about to watch people punch each other in the face.
I don't care about lettuce and come on, we're gonna have fun.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it's like people think it's like to what you were saying, it's like such a binary thing. It has to be one thing or the other, but it's like if you're just eating healthy, that's not a good word, but whatever, there's no language for this, but if you're just eating the way you're supposed to be eating all the time, then like you can go off and have 6 beers one night and then the next day you're just back on your normal thing, and there's gonna be a little bump, but you'll be fine.
100%.
But it's this like feast or famine mentality, like I need to be all the way in my diet or off the rails, like why?
And that's why there's no longevity in that.
You're gonna get tired of that so quickly, because eventually once you go off the deep end, you're not gonna come back, you're gonna stay there because it's way easier to be there.
well, and that goes into when you talk, like, what's your goal? Remember? So, like, for me, my diet is geared around really, like, 3 things. So, cellular health, right? So, the idea is, how can I be beating the clock? Not because I think I'm not going to die, but because, you know what? Science proves that we can push out our health span, right? So we can essentially
literally reading that shit today.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's dope. Yeah, it's a real thing. It's like, so you could take out these kind of more decrepit years, like these, you could push these kind of older, the things that happen to our body in these later decades, you can push them out, I want to be cognitively on fire when I'm 80. Why not? 85 even. How do you do it? Cellular health. Like, physically even, I'm a woman who very much cares about my physical appearance. I mean, I'm part of my career life. I'm a celebrity makeup artist, my skin, all that stuff is important. And I am more natural in my approach. So I'm not necessarily into the things that you can do outside of a natural perspective to them, so cellular health is going to support that. So it's essentially like saying like anti-aging, right? Yeah. But then there comes the aspect of nutrition for me where I'm thinking about optimal performance. And then again, that goes back to your hormones, your emotions, not just 100% physical as well, but like all of that. And then there is a component of body composition. And, that is, yes, I do want my developed shoulders. I do want my booty looking this way.
Yeah, of course.
so there's that too. I have an ebook where I shared 12 of my top recipes, and all the recipes are geared towards those 3 things. So this way of eating for me personally has allowed me to listen, I eat all the food that I want. Like I just don't want the same things as people. Like a lot of people. Like I don't want the chili cheesesteak or whatever. Like
your gut microbiome's on point.
Girl, literally, you just like that's like
I'm being serious.
Yeah.
This is how I look at my diet. I'm like, I always think about what I'm doing or not doing.
Because it's just not you eating. Like your body is eating all of that shit.
They are your bodyguard, and guess what? You are their bodyguard.
Yeah.
This is, I don't just a little biology, but like it's, in science you're calling your gut the second brain.
Yeah.
We have the vagus nerve. The way that you feel, your emotions, which by the way, our decisions are primarily based from our emotions. You want to make better decisions in your life? What are your fucking emotions doing?
Yep.
Well, so how are you influencing your emotions? And that is a lifestyle thing, 100%, I can go deep on a tangent in this because I'm so passionate about it. But like, I'm looking at the information that I am offering myself, and food is a form of information, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about it from that perspective of like, what am I offering my body? These are my goals. These are my standards. This is how I want to feel. This is how I want to look. So what am I doing to support my body to be able to actually be living and expressing this way, and it's an actual joy for me. I cook. I'm such a...
I don't know. I think there's this like misconception that like in order to look the way you look at your age and these sort of things, like I'm sure many people from the outside look at you and they think like, oh, she must be depriving herself or like, not depriving herself, but like, restrictive. Yeah, very restrictive. And it's like, in fact, it's completely liberating,
That's
it's like so funny.
That's exactly what it is. I think it's just very difficult for people. Sure. And there are some restrictions. I'm not going to just go eat anywhere because I don't want your GMO oil.
I guess that's a restriction.
No, totally. Yeah, but it's not restricted in the way of like, I can only eat these 5 foods and I'm not, no, I don't want
like this, you can go in and out. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. Actually, I've never had that in my life. So, and I know it's always like,
we have in and out literally every
that's
Friday.
The end of the podcast.
No, here's the thing. So in 1999, I stopped eating fast food.
Okay,
and I was living in Hawaii. I was home from I was living in Hawaii at the time, and there's no in and out, So, I literally decided one day, because girls, I grew up on Taco Bell too. Like, that was my shit, right?
Yeah,
like,
Crunchwrap Supreme. Amazing.
But like in this process of really wanting to come back to self, like this, and I was like, and this is where I started to learn about what the food was doing and not doing and all that. I was like, no more soda, no more fast food. So that was it. 1999. Dang. It's crazy. It's about to be 2020. Yeah, so no in and out. I have. Wow. But how great is that? Because I don't even know what the fuck I'm missing.
Yeah, don't start.
Yeah. No, I can't.
Yeah. but yeah, no, there's a certain flexibility that comes with like having consistency and being on top of your life and what you put into your body. I think the people don't really get.
I think in how we're just talking about, things being restrictive, people are like, oh, how can you not want this or that? Like these decadences that we have nowadays.
I love that word.
The cookies and cakes. Like, oh, great. Love them. They're super tasty, but when you start thinking like, oh, I can't have that. Like that is restrictive versus what if I like 99% of the time open up myself to a much more dimensional choice of like whole foods and better fuel for my body foods, right? So then once you start only looking in that direction, all of a sudden you don't feel restricted. Like, oh man, like there's a cookie, it's whispering my name. I can't have it.
Yeah.
But then you just don't even hear it. And then it's not even there in front of you.
It's so true. And I think this, I think the big picture is perspective, right? You go to the gym and you're like, I don't want this fat on my arms, right? And so like that's how you're driving your workout. I don't want this fat on the arm. Instead of like going to the gym being like, I wonder what would happen if I like, can I lift a little bit more weight? Like I want to gain a little bit more strength. You see, I'm already talking about gaining versus losing.
Retracting.
Like, exactly. There is more. It's an energy thing, man. It's like, the minute you say I can't, the brain wants to go there, right? It's like, yeah, can't, let's go. Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you know, again, like, so for me, it's like, well, I want to feel my best.
Yeah.
I want to perform. I want to wake up and have energy. I want to be in a good mood. I want you guys to leave here and go, well, that was fucking fun because it was energy. Well, so what do I need to do? Like, just to even focus on diet specifically right now, because we're there. What's going to help me with that? Well, blueberries support, you know, BDNF, like brain-derived neurotropic fat, right? Like, so my omegas, it's going to help my brain function, like adaptogens, like literally looking at your diet. So I'm a nutrivore, if we have any kind of fucking classification for me, because I'm not one to like, I don't like clubs and diet, labels and all that. But like, I literally look at my meals and I go, okay, I want to extract the most nutrients out of my food, whether it's a snack or a meal or whatever, to give my body what it needs to perform at this level. Yeah. But there is nothing restrictive in that. Yeah. In that whole, the whole perspective is
to add to your benefit. And
it's almost like food is fuel.
Yeah.
Like,
well, one of my hashtags is beauty fuel. Yeah. Anytime I put something on food. Yeah. Because,
it is literally what's fueling.
Yeah, what it is. It's very basic math. I'm not good at math, but I'm like 1 + fucking 1 is 2. Like what you were putting in or not putting in, you know. And it's funny. It's such a touchy subject. Like diet is weirdly. Like, it's a very interesting subject. And you know, I put a post out recently. Like, I will never impose my diet. Like, I share things on food that it's science backed and anecdotal. Like, you know, this you know, helps
which
me
is when you think about it. That's what science is. Right. People tried a bunch of shit, and then some other people tried a bunch of shit, and then they're like, yeah, it seems to be the pattern. Right, this is it.
Well, 100%. Maybe somebody sees what you're doing, and 60% of what you're doing works for them, but there are some things like, you know, for example, for me, like, not eating a ton of carbs is very helpful. Yeah. Not because I'm trying, well, I am skinnier when I don't do that, but my acne clears up, like, all these things, I feel lighter. I don't feel like I'm holding on to all this weight, you know? Yeah. But somebody next to me might be like, I can't, or I shouldn't say I can't, but they might need more than I need, you know? And if you need more,
we all have different engines.
Totally, but do what's right for you and adjust the levels, you know? But
yeah, no, it's true. I do comprehensive blood labs throughout the year for that reason, because I'm not interested in just like, oh, how do I feel? Or I read this, like, this is good. Like, how do I know it's good? Right. You know what? I didn't eat meat for 15 years. Wow. Not because of any, it was just because, or actually it was longer than that, like 17 years, whatever. But I did this cleanse like 17 years ago. And then all I wanted was vegetables. And then it was like fish and eggs. And I just never went back to meat, right? Even though I grew up eating meat in my family. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, I must not need it. Because I literally, and then it got to this point where I'm like, the thought of it makes me sick. Like, no, because it's so removed from my palate, right? Well, last year, when I started doing comprehensive blood labs, and comprehensive, you know, I'm saying like they're not just checking iron, they're checking ferritin, which is like very important. It's the biggest piece of your iron that your body needs to. So I discovered that I was anemic. And what's so funny about that is that I didn't know. I'm pushing weight. I'm doing all the shit that I'm doing because, you know, like I was getting away with it because everything else is functioning at a great level. But at that point, you know, I had learned so much about specifically red meat, like the nutrients and how it's affecting us, and to where I was like, man, I almost wish I ate meat. Like bird, I just not, but I was like, I'm like almost ready to, but I needed something to help me pull the trigger because it was so removed from me. And when I discovered I was like anemic, they were like, how are you not getting bloody noses by now? Like, this is pretty incredible. Wow. Because my ferritin levels were at 14. It was gnarly. I was like, that's it. And I still have to supplement because you can't get up a hole that big, like even with red meat. Now I have bison like 4 times, 5 times a week easily, you know? Yeah. And it's interesting because first of all, I would never know that unless I did that comprehensive. Because by the way, my iron showed low. It didn't show anemic. Yeah. So
you got to peel back the layers.
You got to peel back the layers. And ever since then, I mean, me and my brother, Mike, you know, the other day I was in his class, still sore from it. And he, you know, it was rad because he was like, man, you're fucking crushing it. I'm like, thanks. I feel a lot stronger. And I didn't know the difference because I was used to what I was used to, right? But
then that used to just like made it a little bit more like
boom. Yeah. And, you know, everybody's body is so different, and you don't know until you really you look into it from, in my opinion, like this is the future of health, to do blood labs and to know and to keep consistent with them. But anyways, you know, just to say that like our bodies are all different when we're looking at our nutrition from the perspective of, you know, what could I add to feel my best, to perform my best? I think, and that is going to be subjective. Like everybody's going to be different. Absolutely. But that to me is the way to do it, man.
Yeah, you got to experiment and see what's
and
going
evolve
on.
And be willing to evolve.
And like if you were so committed to ideology is too, I guess, aggressive of a word, but like too committed to your not eating meat. You know, like because there are a lot of people that get stuck with that and go, well, I'm maybe anemic, but I don't eat meat. That's me. That's part of my identity. It's like, well, then you're going to continue to be not well.
You can't really substitute like that red meat. You know, if
the amino acid profile that comes in high quality protein, which is animal protein, is not, you can't substitute it.
Yeah.
So if you were going to do, so I've had Dr. Gabrielle Lyon on my podcast, and she is like the queen of this conversation. She's an absolute badass. Muscle centric medicine is, you know, a lot of what her practice is around, and then some. But you know, the way that she frames things is so impressive. Like, it's not that you're necessarily overweight; it's that you're under muscled.
Yeah.
Right. Which is so dope to look at, because it's true, right?
Because it's back to the point. It's not that like you need to subtract the fat.
Exactly. It's looking at the solution and not the fucking problem, right? And so, you know, with a high quality protein, you're going to get that full range of amino acids. In red meat specifically, you're going to get other things like your B12. You know, I actually still get B12 shots and stuff, but folic acid, you're going to get things. So if you're going to subtract an essential macronutrient from your body, do your thing, but do your research. If you don't even know what ferritin is and you're taking that out, that's a problem. Because, you know, you might listen, like me, I didn't feel things that were starting to decline, right? But that's also because the rest of my lifestyle, my diet was like managed me in a way.
It was balanced out more.
It was like allowing me to get away with it. But it was only going to be a matter of time before some shit was really going to start to fall apart, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe even not fall apart, but something I've been like thinking this entire conversation, you know, how sometimes you look at people, you know, and you can tell that they don't take care of themselves physically. Yeah. And you're like, you feel the way you feel right now, you could feel so much better.
You could feel so, I always say this, man, you know, like when people, if it seems that I'm restrictive, or it's like, I'm like, man, you know what? Feeling good feels too fucking good. And I think that the thing for me is that I know the difference because, you know, when I was 16, I had 3 knee surgeries from Taekwondo. I did this epic kick, threw out my knee. I blew out my ACL and I couldn't walk for 3 days, but then I was fine. So I didn't go to the doctors and kept skateboarding and surfing. That was just how I did my, you know, teenage years. Right. And then a couple months later, just like randomly in the middle of the night to open the door, I jumped up and boom, I threw out my meniscus. And what ended up happening was that piece that was torn was stuck between my joints. So the pain from the ACL tear, which was absolutely excruciating, was like nothing compared to this piece of meniscus that was stuck in my joint. And so it would be a whole month before my parents got like the legit Carlin and Joe, like got me into the doctor before I can have my first surgery, first of 3. And so my knee was bent, and it was a whole gnarly thing that would end up being like 2 years of going through surgeries, recovery, and this whole thing. But damn, my train of thought, where did it just go?
Like how you can feel so much better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So during that time is where, okay, so, you know, it would be 3 years where I would be, you know, dealing with surgeries and recoveries and all that. And in that time, I was like gaining weight because I'm eating the American diet, and I don't have like a training program or what, you know, I was always fit because of my genes and my lifestyle. And then, you know, when the years to follow that, there was a lot of discomfort in my body, a lot, because I knew that in the mirror, like that wasn't me. Because I was, you know, as a young kid, I was, you know, a competitive runner. I have my 3 brothers, my sister. We were always athletes, like athletic. And that was just a part of our lifestyle, right? Movement, right? And so all of a sudden I'm like, huh? You know, because everything just got a little bit broader on me, right? It's like,
very nice.
I was never like overweight in this kind of like
overweight for you.
I was overweight for me 100%.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. I'm not being mean to myself. I'm fucking keeping it real.
Yeah.
This is not
It's not self-hate. It's like
no,
it is what it is.
It's the self-awareness and objectivity.
It's exactly. It's like this is like no, I'm not okay with this because I knew that I have a mesomorph body, that I have an athletic build, and that that build was hiding underneath me.
Yeah.
Because of the things that I had been through. In hindsight, it ends up being a beautiful thing because that is what has allowed me to gain as much knowledge as I have in nutrition and fitness and really accentuate the lifestyle that I'm living now, you know, and now I'm able to share it and actually help others in theirs, right? But, you know, there was a lot of discomfort. I mean, even just in like eating, like knowing what it, like I don't ever eat and feel like, when I'm done. Ever. Like I don't even know what that feels like anymore. But I remember what it felt like. It's like, I remember it. I remember the whole thing. And so, you know, now, you know, it's such a beautiful full circle conversation where it's like, I'm free.
Yeah.
I'm fucking free. I get up. I feel good. You know, I challenge myself to every single day. Like, you know, not like every day is like a fucking, you know, a Rocky match, but kind of, but you know, it depends on what area of my life.
To various degrees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's like overall, the overall takeaway here is like, nothing feels better to me than feeling good. Mm-hmm. And to me, this is not just a service to myself, but this is a service to the people that I love in my life. This is a service to the world because, again, it goes back to what am I expressing? What is the impact? Does the world need another sick person? Does the world need a fucking unhappy person? I don't complain. Fuck that. No, I don't like excuses. I don't like complaining. I don't like, you know, I don't like that stuff. And to me, you know, a lot of that stems from how you're feeling inside is what you're going to be exuding and expressing and sharing.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. So it's like, what is the best version of you wasn't going into the world. So it's like the
highest version of myself. Yeah. Black belt beauty. A lot of people don't. It's cute because like they're like, oh, makeup artist, oh, jujitsu. I'm like, no. I'm not a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Like, that's a nice
I'm black belt in beauty and being my best self.
I'm black belt, in beauty for sure. But the real meaning behind black belt beauty for me is, you know, to live from the fullest expression of ourselves is to live a beautiful life, in my opinion.
Mastery of it.
The tagline is mastering the beauty of you, right? So this is what black belt beauty is to me. Like, we can all live this black belt beauty life. Like,
totally.
Right? But, you know, you got to do the work. And the work is a constant, and it is not one dimensional. It is this 360 degrees of, you know, that's happening. Yeah. I don't believe in balance. Balance is very static. I believe in harmony. Right. So
because balance, again, it's like it invites a dichotomy. It's one side versus the other, and then harmony is like in the middle of that,
and it's in motion. Yeah. Right. And so
it's like,
it's always moving,
ebb and
like
flow and move and
exactly. I mean, doesn't that just sound more badass? Like, balance is like, I'm bored.
Well, like when you look on the ocean and you see waves,
I know
that's so beautiful. And then when it's still, then you're.
I mean, when it's still, it's beautiful too.
But you gotta have.
But the tides come in and out.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that's the thing.
It's
right?
still moving.
It's still
also
moving.
It's like this beautiful thing. I'm just looking at the ocean.
Yeah,
it's like this beautiful thing where it gives you life and stuff, but it can also just like destroy you and kill you.
That, you know, I've been surfing for the majority of my life, and I think that's the thing with the ocean. It's like you're either addicted, you're in fear. I think I'm both because
you're like a speck in this bit. Like,
you're not even in your natural element.
Totally,
dude. You're
like, that's
like
what I love. Yeah,
you're in the creature land right there.
And
like,
anything can happen to you. And you're sitting on the top. You're like literally like a buoy.
You're food. You're straight up food. And that's dope. That's interesting.
Yeah, and you're personally like intentionally going out there and putting yourself out there into this place. You know, that's kind of like the beauty of it is like, take me
surrender.
Away. Yeah, literally.
It's surrender.
It
is
total
really
surrender. Yeah, and it's so surfing and jiu-jitsu. It's so interesting that these two activities have such a parallel to me. And, you know, there's so many takeaways from surfing and jiu-jitsu that are applicable to life, right? So, like, you know, when you think about surfing and how you have to, well, in both cases, if you are not fully present,
you're going to crash.
You are potentially going to get hurt. You are potentially going to hurt somebody else. You have to be in this, I guess the best way to frame it is like it's a flow state, right?
Yeah,
so it's like
free fall.
Mind and body are together, right? And when mind and body are together, then you can, you know, you're safe. You're in the moment. And I think that's also what lends to the feeling when you're done with like a great roll, you know, training jiu-jitsu or like surf session. Like you just feel like, man, I feel good.
Yeah.
Because mind and body had to be so in motion together that you were in a state of presence. And when we are in a state of presence, like that is where we ultimately want to. My idea of success, one part of it is to be present in as many minutes of my life as I possibly can. Because I know, especially through these modalities, like I know the feeling of being very present and what it offers. You know, there's a lot of peace in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so hard to find that kind of silence, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
Silence
become
is
that
the
like
right word.
singularity kind of.
Singularity, like this oneness, this comfort of just like existing.
No
I'm
past,
just in it.
no future, just like
right
literally
here.
Tranquil,
yeah.
Moment to moment sort of thing. It's so challenging. I think what everyone kind of strives for, but it's a practice. Like you have to.
Weirdly enough, though, like the less you strive for it, the more naturally kind of comes.
It's true. I mean, I think that there's things like, listen, like surfing and jiu-jitsu as an example. These are avenues that can help you get there. Meditation is another one. I have had a meditation practice in my life for years now, and it is. Oh man, I don't ever want to miss a day of meditation.
Yeah.
It is like, I love going into that space with myself, you know, for so many different reasons. But it really does allow one to generate a better connection with self and also a better connection with presence, you know? And so you're going to depart from these activities, the meditation, the surfing, the jiu-jitsu, and there's going to be a state of mental elevation.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, like, oh, you got choked out, oh, you got wiped out, like, but still, like, in the process of doing these things,
you learn something.
There's a gain from just being in the moment.
Yeah, I think that's what I don't know why I thought of this as the example bizarre, but you know, like in action sports, you often see this, like a snowboarder or surfer, whatever. They are doing these really risky, insane, like I can only imagine what it must be like to like fly in the air like these people do, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
You're a chopo just happened. Okay, you're surfing at chopo. And it's like these massive, huge things, you know, and something catastrophic can happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get why you would do this, but a lot of people from the outside looking in would be like, okay, you've had this like horrific accident happen to you, you know, what makes you want to go back there and get back in the ocean? And to me, it's like, well, that's where that person feels most comfortable. That's where they feel like they can be themselves. But from the outside, they're like, that thing hurt you. Why would you want to go and do that again? But time and time again, you see these surfers, these skateboarders, these snowboarders, whatever, going back to whatever hurt them, you know?
So I'm going to show this to you guys. So my best friend growing up, I mean, still to this day, just because you're talking about it.
Oh, yes, yeah, exactly.
Kayala Kenley.
Yeah, exactly.
The queen of Chopo.
Yeah.
Who got her face
For
smashed
sure,
on the I mean, she's the queen, though.
Yeah.
Like, she rules that domain. Yeah. Like, and by the way, the boyfriend that I was talking about, that's JP Solberg. He's one of the world's greatest snowboarders. Like, heli riding. Like, he's from Norway.
Yeah,
so it's just funny that you bring these actual action sports up, because in my personal life, like, two of the most important people in my life are, like, actual.
Like, I'm sure she's not thinking, well, that reef fucked me up. I'm not going to go back there.
Oh, she went back out.
Yeah,
she
exactly.
Still goes back out. Yeah, no, for sure.
Because, like, no matter how much that might have physically hurt, nothing beats the feeling of that, like, achieving that, like, singularity, that point in time where you're just.
Well, it's even like Cowboy recently, like with his eye. Like, I think it's the funniest photo ever where he's like smiling because he's just like.
That was so gnarly.
Like, whatever. Like, it happened, you know?
I mean, I think it's primal too. Like, you're in this state of nature. I mean, with fighting is just primal.
Yeah.
Like, right? So it's, you know, we are so far from our caveman days and those, you know, to where I think that, like, for me, just being in nature is staying connected to this primal existence, and that feels really good. You know,
and it's so objective. You know, like when you're in like we go to Joshua Tree a lot, and it's like you go there and you just see these big boulders, and you're like,
yeah,
okay, the sand that's here and these big boulders, that was all created by nature. Like, they don't care if Donald Trump is the president. They don't care if the fucking world blows up. Like, they're just gonna be.
They were there before us. They're here right now. They're gonna be here after us.
Yeah.
Like, why?
So it's like there's something peaceful about being there because you're just like, oh, this rock right here, like, I can bring my kids here. I can bring my kids' here, and it's all the same. And it doesn't matter. It just really doesn't matter.
True. There's so many beautiful takeaways and observations and things that we can learn if we just stay awake and we,
that's a good one. Stay awake.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, it's like what you were saying earlier, like about just being open and just letting life come to you.
Yeah, like be curious, stay in that place of like possibilities, stay in that unlimited mindset. And still like, listen, I am a very edgy woman. Like I am aggressive. So it's not just like, oh, yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm just sitting here on my couch, even though I love my couch. It's like, no, I'm fucking seeking the fight. Yeah. Right? Like I'm
getting out there,
fucking going for it. But it's a dance, man. It's this dance of like applying with inspiration, with intention, with focus, all of which for me, it's like to serve me, right? Yeah. To serve my highest self, like in the life that I want to live, but also staying open and not gripping so that life can come in and support me in the process. Like whatever, like, the plant, the rose to bloom needs the sun, right? Yeah. The rose is going to do its part, but it needs the sun to help. And I think it's like that similar thing, if that makes any sense. But yes, I'm driving my intentions and my actions every single day with purpose and focus and vision. Yeah. But I'm not so, there's not this over controlling scenario that is also taking place, which is an art. Like that is not something, it is, we want to, we're all uncertain. We don't know in the next 5 minutes what the fuck's going down, right? Yeah. So to be able to operate in life, to face uncertainty with a state of comfort and composure, and creativity. So to be more creative and not reactive, like not needing, I need this to happen, then I'll feel this way. It's like, well, why don't you just start feeling that way and then see if the shit starts to happen for you? Because in my personal life, like I think that's what is proven to me, like to be but it's just, it's like operating from this open, creative, curious place that, and really, what is that doing, man? That's just making you feel a lot better in your life. True. While you're going through uncertainty. And I think I really like to feel good.
Yeah. I think like also once you get a taste of it, my mom always says this about fat people. That's like a broad scope, but it's like she will look at them and just be like, oh, I just wish that they knew how good they could feel about themselves. And like, and you see it, like people make these changes, simple, superficial changes. They lose weight or whatever. And then suddenly they're like, oh my God, I'm actually this good looking guy who can get all the girls. And all my life, I thought that I was this ugly piece of shit, loser who nobody liked. And it's like, wow, it's crazy how just making a change and getting after what you want to do for yourself can change how you feel about yourself, how the world sees you, all these little things. But you have to.
No, it's hard. I think it's true and it's difficult in so many. That is such a.
It's complex... the initial like crack of the door. I think that's like the hardest part because once the floodgates open, then it's. It's like you said, like, it's not like you're going to suddenly go and start eating junk food. But why would you do that? You're already in this other realm. But
there's a life. You make it a lifestyle.
Yeah, and it's like, I think all of us are really fortunate in the sense that like we've been around these, from what I gather from all of our families, have been around the type of people who that's normal. That's normal behavior to go and do these things. And unfortunately, it's not the same for everyone. A lot of people have very restrictive families or environments where they don't really feel.
Also, I think it's so important to, and this is not to just give away like your power, but like, listen, man, we live in a time where it's different. Like you don't need to do shit. You can order your food on the couch and you don't even need to move. The convenience factor here, food is available to us at all times, and not even food. Like it's a fake food is what it really is. Like
we ordered ice cream last night at 11 o'clock. Like gourmet ice cream to our door.
You know what I'm saying? No, but like it's like you don't have to
do anything.
You don't have to. Yeah. So now it's like whereas like back in the day we had to hunt for our food. We had to work for our food. We weren't eating for days, and we evolved, right? Like from this way of being, right? Now we have to be more mindful about all the things, and not just food, the news. Everything is information. Yeah. This is my idea. Like, it goes like this. Everything is information. What separates us as humans is two things. The information that we choose to ingest, and also there is information that comes at us in life, like a experience, a certain situation that we didn't choose, but how we choose to respond to it. Yep. Oh, yeah. And those two factors are what separates us as individuals, right? So, you know, when I say that it's not just food, it's because it's like, what are you watching on TV? There's all these factors that if we are not conscious about what we are choosing to do or not do, it is going to, it's going to create who we are in our life, right? But there needs to be this conscious. So if you're overweight, you know, it's not necessarily all because, not that I'm in the person's mind, but you know, it's not because you're just lazy and you just want to eat. Yeah. It's like, you know what? You don't know better. You don't have the tools. And guess what? 99-cent burrito is right there, and that's a lot easier than you know, going to Whole Foods and
it's like, I'm just thinking because I saw Tim Ferriss, but Tim Ferriss always says this about when people first start dieting and stuff, like they don't understand that. So say you're ordering food in all the time, like okay, the three of us here, we all know how to cook and we all know how to go to the store and shop for the specific meals that we like to make that are healthy, because we know these things. We know how to do the shopping, we know how to do the cooking, all this stuff. But when you're initially getting into it, if you're changing your lifestyle, it's not that you're just learning how to eat the right food. You're learning how to pick what the right food is, and 100%, and how to put these things together. Yeah, and it can be overwhelming for people because they think like, well, I'll just buy the lettuce and then I'll have a salad. It's like, no, because the salad that you're going to get at Tocaya or at Mendocino or something, that took years and years and years of engineering for someone to design. That's what's so good, that, you know? So it's like, when you come
scientists are like, no, we need a little bit more of this chemical.
So then when you come home, it's not going to be this like beautiful thing the first time, you know? And if you expect that, and it's not going to be like the most perfect milieu in your mouth, you know, all these flavors or whatever. But I think people don't, that's one example, but in their life, you know, they think like, I want to build a business. Okay. But you don't just like file for an LLC and then you have a business. Like you need to put the business plan together, and you need to learn how to put the business plan together. You need to learn the steps within the steps, which a lot of people don't really understand. Peel back the layers. Yeah, peel back the layers.
And
there are many tiny ones.
100%. Yes, totally. I think also learning why. Like, why are you doing this? And why do you need this? And what? Because when you understand the why, then you're not just like, oh, I'm just supposed to do this. It's like, now you're going to be able to better apply when you understand why you're doing that thing, whatever that thing is in the first place. So that's something that, you know, I know a lot of people, when they come to me with, you know, howls on, you know, how to better their diet or their training, if it's weightlifting or whatnot. It's like, well, I'm not going to just tell them, oh, you know, you want to eat this. I'm going to explain to them, for example, you want to make sure you're getting a minimum of 30 grams of high quality protein for muscle protein synthesis, because this is what your body needs. This is the trigger through diet to help develop and maintain healthy muscle mass. Yeah. Now it's not just eat more protein.
Yeah.
You understand the difference?
Okay,
it's like, then I need to make sure I'm not just eating the...
There's intent. It's focus. It's not just vague and
exactly. Errand. Yeah. But you have... Yeah. I think it's...
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like, that's so true.
But I mean, because to your point of like, oh, it's all information. Like, you said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Just in different ways. Like,
I was just like laughing because people, like, I'm sure people come to you and they think like, oh, like, fix me. It's like, no, you have to
fix yourself.
We have to work together. Like,
people actually don't come at me that way.
Oh, really?
Which is cool. I mean, sorry, my phone's going off. I mean, sometimes I know that certainly people want the short answer, you know, and I'm not, and I get that. But when people come to me and have questions, about diet or training, essentially anything in lifestyle, that's even mindset. I mean, mindset's huge for me. Mindset's everything.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm a train the mind girl. Like it's all about, and actually that's what I'll always tap into that because even when you look at diet and training and this stuff, like your mindset has to be in a place that's the foundation to everything.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not going into your, if you want to lose weight, let's just say, but you don't have enough, your why factor isn't powerful. It's like, oh, okay.
You're like, I want to have 6-pack abs. Okay, well, It's not a good enough reason.
You know what? That's not going to get you out of bed on a cold winter morning when you need to go get your cardio and lift your weights, and you know it's not powerful enough. So I think for me, when people come to me and ask me for ways to which they can upgrade their lifestyle in these specific areas, I'm always not just I don't just give information. I'm always very mindful to break it down. Like, this is why that you want to be doing
go
it
deeper inside of your brain.
Exactly. And I want you to be armed with it. It's not just about what I'm feeding you, like the information. I want you to be able to have this source, so you become reliant on self, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think a lot of people want to have people as like their, what is that when you go bowling, like the bumpers, the
lanes.
Yeah, you kind of need, I get it. You need people in your life to
do that occasionally.
But it's like the whole fisherman thing, teach a man to fish. And if you can empower them with the tools in their mind, and maybe they might need to call you or talk to you every now and again as a good reminder, like you were saying about the book, you read this book to just kind of like, fortify and reinforce these thoughts that you already know. But, it's just setting that initial seed in someone's mind and allowing them to kind of grow with it and maybe define it for themselves and define what these messages are. What that means in their life.
You give value to it. Exactly. Because that's what's going to help you maintain and then develop.
Yeah,
right?
Because you're not going to have a coach your whole life or somebody to keep you accountable your whole life. And who better to keep you accountable than yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it's like back to the point that like meaning is an emergent property. Like you have to let it happen. Like you have to define things. That's how language evolved, because we define sounds to mean certain things,
Sure.
Like that's how planes stay in the sky, because we all collectively agreed that these certain properties have this meaning, and then we just keep repeating that pattern, and we can record this conversation and have it, and then like
that's so cool. I know. I'm like, talk more. Like, science and technology. It's so funny. I am such a geek. And like, it's just funny because, in school, which was a long time ago, but, I was not a good student. And it wasn't because I read the encyclopedia as a kid. I'm fascinated with learning and discovering. I just wasn't really, I'm not good with conformity. Like I've been divergent since birth. Like I departed from the matrix from birth. You know what I mean? Like I've always been one to fortunately I've been able to listen. And I think that is an actual gift. And that has allowed me to live around the world, to go for things that were very arduous and, like, this is like, how are you moving to New York City and you have no plan? I just don't know. I gotta live in New York.
Figure it out.
I know I'm supposed to be here, and I end up living there for 6 years of my life, and it's, a home forever. But like, I think that, that has always been something to, in school it didn't serve me because my grades didn't do that well, but it has served me as an individual to be very autonomous, to be very self-reliant, and to allow myself to experience life in a way where I actually have not just received information and in terms of knowledge and like, education or like academically, but like there's actual wisdom. And this is something that, I love to share and to express, to contribute with, right? So
you're like a beacon to all those that come in contact with you. The saffaie family, like, I don't know what it is. Like,
y'all are just,
we're just very interested.
Yeah.
We're very interested.
And I think it's also very important that interest, in, your guys' particular case was always fed.
Yeah.
Like you were always given, because I think everyone is born with that interest, right?
Yeah.
And then due to whatever various life things, either that interest gets fed or it doesn't. And like with all things, for some people that shit just starves and dies out, you know, and then they are whatever they are. For some people it's, underfed.
Right.
And for you, it's just like eating the exact amount of fuel that it needs to just keep going and progressing and building and just on and on and on.
Yeah. Well, I think in my family, 5 siblings were all alphas. And, it's interesting because we certainly have had like, the earlier part of our childhood, there were a lot of challenges, parents separating, the whole thing. There's a lot going on there. We're all best friends, or like siblings. My mom, like we're homies. But we're all very, very individual, very rebellious in some ways too. Like we do it our way. If you sit at the dinner table with us, it's a very interesting thing. Like now,
mentioned it, yeah.
Did he mention the dinner table?
Yeah.
Well, the dinner table is interesting because it's like, you got it. Like if you come and you're a guest, like just be ready, because we don't hold back, and it doesn't mean an argument could happen. We're all very passionate. We all have opinions. We all, but, we're in the age now where it's like, it's not like there's certainly it's healthy conversations, but we've all just through our lives, like if we want to do something, whether you agree with it or not, you're like, Mom, if you like, I got to try it and I'm going to go for it. But I think one thing that has been so supportive to all of us, whether we were in agreement with, like if they were in agreement with, me moving to New York or what, I'm just making an example, or not to say that they weren't, but like, let's just say, I think one thing that has always been so supportive, even if it's not really conscious, is that we know at the end of the fucking day, like we got each other. Yeah. And we are not like there. When I say we got each other, this is a very powerful tribe. We are a group. We have been through shit in our life and we know we are resilient. So I can lean into my family if I need to, when I need to, and they can lean into, like I'm like quote unquote the cheerleader in the family. I never had pom-poms in my life, but like Mike actually says that. Yeah. She's,
you're like the coaxer. What is that called? Like when you're all rowing? Like the person just like coaxing. Yeah, coaxing. Yeah.
Coaxing? Yeah, that's I'm the coaxing. I'm the coaxer.
They like sit in a boat and they're like, row faster.
Row. Well, I think I've always done a good job at like showing people what you're capable of, because I see it in you and I will bring it out of you. And even if you don't believe it in yourself, or I'll pull things out and point things out, like, look at this. And I'm not someone to just like, I'm also the friend that like, if that outfit looks ugly on you, girl, I'm going to tell you. Because that's a real friend. Yeah. I'm not that just like, everything
you look great.
No, hell no. Yeah. There is realness at all times. But I've always been one to like with my I am my family's biggest fan. 100%. Like I love promoting, and I'm very proud of everyone in my family for a lot of different reasons. Number one, everyone's fucking real. And they're good people. Like in my family, there's no, we know what it feels like to be hungry. I know what it feels like to fly on a private jet around the world. Like you know what I mean? Because
Mike literally said,
did he say that too?
I love being hungry.
Like, well, it just says it teaches you a lot.
It teaches you a lot.
And
it's so true.
And it also, I think, when you don't ever forget. When I say you don't forget where you come from, I'm not saying that you hold yourself in this place. Yeah. It's just you always understand. How gnarly life can actually be.
And how far you've come from.
100%. So it's like, man, I'm going to be just as nice to that person as that person. I don't give a fuck what your title. It's all about who you are as a person and what you're expressing, and that is something that bleeds through all of us in my family.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
That seems like a beautiful place also to end this. Not to be so abrupt. But
I feel like we can keep talking.
Well, this is for the sake of people. That way we don't have a 6-hour podcast.
So easy to have one.
It really is, right? Once you get into the flow state, it's just
right. Totally. You just keep going. Well, thank you.
No, thank you. Are you kidding me?
Roxy, you're so cool.
If you could tell people like where to find you, obviously people listen to our podcast. What are you doing? But if you could tell people handles, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and we'll link it, but
for sure. For sure. So Black Belt Beauty Radio is the actual name of the podcast.
Very good podcast.
Thank you. It's on all platforms. I have 2 Instagram handles. ROXY Look, ROXY LOOK is my personal, and then there's Black Belt Beauty, and so that's like brand and lifestyle. Blackbeltbeauty.com is the website that kind of hubs everything. There's some fun stuff on there as well, but I think Instagram is the most active for me, and then the podcast. So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. Seriously, we'll have to, I'm sure Lizzie's going to be like part 2, 3, 4, 5.
No,
we gotta do one where it's you and Mike.
Oh my God, I would love that. You guys, you did such an awesome job with, as a sister and as a podcast host too. I was listening to it from multiple angles. Like I was like, and the conversation was beautiful. He had so much fun, and it was such a, to bring in my brother, because this is like, it's a female pod, even though it's not just but like that was that made him feel really good. And
oh my gosh, it was like one of the most fun.
All we can do, and all we can strive to do is just to try and make the most comfortable, fun experience that we can for the people that we're talking with. So if
you nailed it with him, with me.
Yes,
I'm proud to be on this podcast. I can't wait to put you guys out more, and we'll do it again for sure.
Amazing, awesome. Thank you. All right,
thank you.
Bye, guys.
All right, peace out.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode, you guys. If you loved it, please share it on your social. Throw it up on your Instagram stories and tag me. I'm at Black Belt Beauty. I am also at ROXY Look, ROXYLOOK. I love connecting with you guys. This is a conversation that I want to just continue growing with you guys. So if you feel inspired to hit me up, do so in that space. I always enjoy hearing from you. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so by rating it and reviewing it via iTunes. It's such supportive help, you guys. It really helps the visibility of this podcast. So I appreciate and thank you in advance for doing that. And last but not least, if you are interested in starting your own podcast, or perhaps you already have one and you need help with, editing your audio and the production of it, I cannot recommend my producers enough. Resonate Recordings, you guys, they are the bomb. I rely on them. They are an absolute supportive tool to me and my podcast. So check them out and let them know that Black Belt Beauty sent you. And on that note, you guys, I'm signing off with all my love and always looking forward to catching you on the next.